Hello Year 11. This lesson is on solving equations when we have unknowns on both sides of the equation. And again, this is just revision for you. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video and try solving both of the equations on the screen before I run through how to do them. Okay, so our objective here is to make sure that we've got x's on only one side of our equation, because once we've done that, we can solve them just in the way we were last lesson. So if I look at this first example on the screen here, what I'm going to do first of all is subtract 2x from both sides, because if I do that, then on this side I won't have any x's at all, and it will become an equation like the ones we were looking at yesterday. If I subtract 2x from this side, well, I had 4x to start with, so once I've subtracted 2x, I'll have 2x's left. So 2x add 5 is equal to -8. So subtracting the 2x doesn't affect the constants at all because they're not x's, so I'm not subtracting from those. And now this looks like the sort of equation that we were looking at yesterday. So x has been multiplied by 2 and had 5 added. So I'm now going to reverse that by subtracting 5 from both sides. I just need to be a little bit careful with this one because we've got a -8 on the right hand side. So when I subtract 5 more from that, it's going to get even more negative. So I'm going to have -13. So 2x is equal to -13. And then finally, I need to divide by 2. Slightly awkward number. So I could write this as a fraction. I could write it as -13 over 2. But actually, when we're halving, it's not so difficult to write that as a decimal. So I've written that as x is equal to -13 over 2. And that's our answer. We could have written it as -6.5. So moving on to the second example, what I've got to do here is expand the brackets on both sides of the equation. So 5 multiplied by 2x is 10x, 5 multiplied by -1 is -5, and then on the right hand side, 3 multiplied by 8 is 24, 3 multiplied by -2x is -6x. And now this just becomes an equation with x's on both sides. The difference here, though, is that I've got a -6x on this side. So if I want to make sure that on this right-hand side I've got no x's, I'm going to have to do the inverse of subtracting 6x. In other words, I'm going to need to add 6x to both sides. And that will then mean that on this left-hand side, altogether I have 16x. So 16x subtract 5 is equal to 24. And now I can go ahead like we were yesterday by adding 5 to both sides, which will give me 16x equals 29, and then divide by 16. And again, I don't have to worry about the fact those numbers are difficult because I can just write them as a fraction, so 29 over 16. And then I can simplify that, write it as a mixed number. So 16 goes into 29 once, so 1 whole with 13 remaining, so 13/16. Okay, so here is your task for today. You are going to try and solve these equations. Again, the ones in the green box are really quite challenging, so they're an extra challenge. Red and amber are, again, increasing levels of difficulty, but you should be able to give those all a good go and then try the green for a bit of extra challenge. I will upload the answers to these tomorrow.